Hi class. I just kind of want to walk you through a little bit of what this your first essay is going to look like. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be summarizing and analyzing an article of your choice. And so to do that, you're going to first have to find an article. For the purpose of this video, I am just going to walk you through how I would write the summary and analysis of David Brooks' article that you guys read last week. And so there are several things that you're going to need to do in this essay. Obviously, you're going to need to look for, or you're going to need to be able to identify who the author is, the title of the article, the thesis, the purpose, the tone, the audience, and the reasons. And then the way that you're going to write this essay is you are going to, in your introduction, you're going to, in general, summarize all those points. And then you are going to go into detail summarizing, basically from top to bottom the article. How does the article begin? What are the reasons and points that the author uses to support their thesis? And then the evidence that the author uses to support those reasons. And so in this article, or in my sample essay here, I first start by identifying who the author is, David Brooks, and that he's a longtime contributor to the New York Times. I'm being brief here. You should definitely do a little bit more research to tell me about your author. And then I go right into the article. So in his article, Children Need to Be Back in School Tomorrow, he uses pretty divisive rhetoric seeking to inform liberals and Republicans alike that teachers, just like those that denied Biden's election victory, are inventing their own facts and living in their own fantasy land. Brooks supports his argument with 4 facts. Virtual schooling is terrible for students. In-person schooling can be safe. Teachers' unions are denying the truth. And finally, virtual schooling is particularly problematic for economically challenged minorities. And so this is how you should begin your article too. And so I have who the author is, the title of the article. You'll note where this is published in newspapers is always italicized. If it's a journal, it's italicized. If it's a magazine, it's italicized. The title of the article, on the other hand, is put in quotation marks. So if this is an essay, it'd be in quotation marks. If it's a newspaper article, it's put in quotation marks. Any shorter pieces is in quotations. And then I also capitalize the first letter, every major first letter in the title itself. Same thing with the magazine titles too. So in his article, and so I'm identifying the article here, putting it in quotes, he uses pretty divisive rhetoric. So this is the tone. He is being divisive, right? He sounds divisive, he's angry. And what is he doing? He's trying to inform. So that's a couple of your options, right? Entertain, inform, convince. I probably could have put in convince in here too, and it would have been fine. And then I also put in the audience here too. You don't have to say the audience is, the tone is, the purpose is. You can just go ahead and do those things and say those things without those very formal titles. And then I go, basically paraphrase and then use a direct quote for what his thesis is. And this is what you should do too. There should be a direct quote for the thesis, unless you're saying it's an informed or implied thesis, then you would have to state that. And so I have brackets against after inventing and living, because I'm changing the tense here in order for it to make sense. But anytime that you use quotes or you introduce quotes in your article, you want to make sure that you are referring to it in present tense. Anytime that you are referencing somebody else's work, it's always in present tense. And then finally at the end of the paragraph, I'm basically again paraphrasing in my own words what the main reasons are that he uses to support the thesis. And then after you identify all those things, then you just go right into how the article begins. It's basically a chronological approach to summarizing the article. And so then I said he begins his article. He can be as straightforward as that by alluding to the anti-intellectualism of the past few months, where millions of people denied, regardless of evidence, Biden's electoral win. Then he swiftly transitions to his thesis and starts exploring the facts of COVID-19 in our current schooling system. And so that's all he does in the first couple of paragraphs if you look back. And then to transition to his first reason, I basically just state it. The first point that Brooks uses, and this is reference to the reason, and then the author, and then his thesis. You should have those two things there all the time. You always want to be referencing back to the author, that these are the author's ideas, and it should never sound like it's coming from you, that you are always referring to the article instead. He supports the reasons by referencing some investigative journalism of ProPublica, and then I have a direct quote here. Again, I'm introducing the quote. You should always have some kind of introduction, and then I have ellipses here because I'm skipping part of the article. And then again, if it's not clear that I'm actually referring to Brooks, I'm putting it in parentheses here after the quotes. Then he uses a case study about a 12-year-old who no longer has passion for school. So all I'm doing here is going through, again, chronologically, the article in these couple of paragraphs that are dedicated to why remote learning is so bad. And then I'm describing the evidence and the type of evidence that he uses to support those reasons. And then all I would do if I kept writing this essay, which I'm not because I don't have to anymore, you should go to the next point that the author makes, and again describe what the reason is in the topic sentence, and then show how the author supports the reason with evidence and the type of evidence that is there. And then finally, once you're at the end, you should tell us how the author concludes the article. I also included another student essay, not on this article, obviously because this was just written a few weeks ago. I don't have any samples of it yet, but I have a student sample too. And it's not like an A+ essay, but it's like a A- because there are some grammatical issues and some MLA issues in there. But in general, that's it. Okay, thanks.